The Invisible Thief: How to Stop Age-Related Muscle Loss. Sarcopenia. Part 1. The Spiral Downward. Imagine for a second a typical morning in the life of someone in their late 70s. We'll call her Sophie. Sophie has always been active. She gardens, she plays a little golf, and she's never really considered herself old. But one day, while walking to get the mail, her foot catches on a slightly uneven piece of pavement. It's a small trip, something a 30-year-old would catch in a heartbeat. But Sophie's balance isn't what it used to be, and her legs don't have the explosive power to steady her. She falls. She ends up in the hospital with a fractured hip. This is what experts call the final common pathway to decline. Sophie survives the surgery, but she spends 10 days in bed rest. In those 10 days, because of her age, her body loses over 3 pounds of pure muscle. When she finally goes home, she is weaker than she has ever been. She moves less because she's afraid of falling again. Because she moves less, she loses even more muscle. The spiral has started, and for Sophie, the garden she loved starts to feel like a distant memory. What Sophia experienced is the brutal reality of sarcopenia. It's a fancy medical word for a very simple, scary process: the natural, age-related loss of lean muscle mass and strength. We often talk about heart disease or cancer as the big killers, but sarcopenia is the invisible thief that steals your independence and your vitality long before you take your last breath. Today, we're going to learn how this thief works, why it turns your muscles into Wagyu beef, and most importantly, the science-backed steps you can take to stop it in its tracks. Part 2, why we fall off a cliff at 70. Most people think that getting weak is just a natural part of growing old, like getting gray hair. But the truth is more complex. Sarcopenia is to your muscles what osteoporosis is to your bones. Our muscle mass peaks in our late 20s. From age 30 to 50, the decline is slow, about 10% total. But once you hit your 50s and 60s, the speed of loss ramps up dramatically. After age 60, you can lose as much as 3% of your muscle mass every single year. By the time a person reaches 80, they may have lost half of the muscle they had in their youth. It's like walking toward a cliff. In your 30s and 40s, you're far from the edge. But if you don't build a reserve of muscle and strength now, by the time you reach your 70s, you're standing right on the brink. Why does this happen? The sources point to a few major factors. Anabolic resistance. As we age, our bodies become deaf to the signals that tell our muscles to grow. You can eat the same protein and do the same movement as a 20-year-old, but your body just doesn't respond as efficiently. The loss of fast-twitch fibers. We have 2 main types of muscle fibers. Type 1 are for endurance, walking, and type 2 are for power and speed, sprinting, catching a fall. Sarcopenia specifically attacks those type 2 fibers. This is why an older person might be able to walk for miles but struggle to get out of a low chair or move quickly enough to prevent a trip. Hormonal decline. The drop in testosterone and estrogen as we age acts like a brake on our muscle-building machinery. Inflammaging. Chronic, low-grade inflammation acts like molecular garbage that prevents our muscles from repairing themselves. Part 3. The Wagyu muscle analogy. If you want a visual of what sarcopenia looks like, look at a muscle biopsy. In a fit 70-year-old triathlete, the muscle looks like a lean sirloin steak, solid, red, and powerful. But in a sedentary 74-year-old, the muscle looks like Wagyu beef. It is marbled with intramuscular fat. This isn't just about how you look in a mirror. it's about your metabolic health. Your muscles are your body's primary sink for blood sugar. They are highly metabolic machines that burn glucose and fat for fuel. When you lose muscle mass, you lose your ability to manage your blood sugar. This leads to insulin resistance, where your cells stop responding to the hormone that controls your energy. This sets the stage for what experts call the four horsemen of death: heart disease, type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's, and cancer. In many ways, sarcopenia is the root of metabolic obesity. You might even stay the same weight on the scale, but because you are losing muscle and replacing it with toxic visceral fat, your health is actually declining. Part 4. The magic pill: resistance training. If there is a magic pill for sarcopenia, it is resistance training. The sources are unanimous. You must push or pull heavy things. While aerobic exercise like walking is great for your heart, it does very little to stop the loss of those critical fast-twitch muscle fibers. Here is the most empowering part of the science. It is never too late to start. Studies show that 90-year-olds can see significant muscle growth after just one bout of resistance exercise. In one study, 8 weeks of training in adults aged 86 to 96 increased their muscle strength by a staggering 180%. You don't need to live in a gym to see benefits. Research shows that just 1 hour of resistance training per week is enough to significantly decrease your risk of dying from all causes. How to train for longevity. Based on the advice of experts like Dr. Peter Attia and Dr. Howard Lux, your plan should focus on 3 things. Prioritize the legs. Your legs contain your largest and most powerful muscles. Strengthening your thighs and glutes is your best defense against falls. Focus on squats, lunges, and getting out of a chair without using your arms. Don't forget the calves. Our calf muscles are often the first to succumb to sarcopenia. Seated and straight-leg calf raises are essential for maintaining your gait and stability. Train for volitional failure. You don't necessarily need to lift massive weights. You can use lighter weights or even your own body weight, as long as you do enough repetitions to get close to the point where you can't do another one with good form. This is what recruits those lazy muscle fibers and tells your body to build more tissue. Part 5. Feeding the machine. You cannot out-train a poor diet, and you certainly cannot build muscle out of thin air. One of the biggest mistakes older adults make is following the recommended daily allowance, RDA, for protein. The RDA is about 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. Most longevity experts consider this a joke for anyone over 60. Because of that anabolic resistance we talked about earlier, your body needs a bigger dose of protein to trigger the muscle building process. The goal: aim for 1.2 to 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight daily. The meal threshold: you should aim for at least 25 to 30 grams of protein per meal. The trigger: focus on the amino acid leucine. It acts like a light switch for muscle synthesis. High leucine foods include whey protein, eggs, fish, and dairy. Part 6. The Longevity Toolkit, Supplements and Habits. While whole food is the foundation, there are a few low-tech tools that the sources recommend for fighting sarcopenia. Creatine monohydrate. This is one of the most well-researched supplements in the world. It helps your muscles generate more force and brings water into the cells to help them grow. It also has surprising benefits for brain health and memory as you age. Whey protein. It has the highest biological value of any protein, meaning your body absorbs and uses it more efficiently than almost anything else. Omega-3 fatty acids. High doses of fish oil, EPA and DHA, have been shown to improve muscle performance and reduce the inflammation that drives wasting. HMB, a byproduct of leucine that is specifically powerful for preventing muscle damage and catabolism in people who are already frail or recovering from surgery. Sleep. You don't build muscle in the gym, you build it while you sleep. One night of poor sleep has been shown to immediately increase insulin resistance and hinder muscle repair. Part 7. Redesigning your future. We are living in an era where a child born today has a 50% chance of living to 105. Intro. But the real question is, how well will those years be lived? We all have two ages: our chronological age, the number on our driver's license, and our biological age, the actual health of our cells and muscles. Sarcopenia is one of the biggest drivers of that biological clock. But as we saw with Wojciech Weklowicz, the 70-year-old Polish man who went from a dad bod to competing on Ninja Warrior, you can effectively control the speed of your aging. Wojciech can do handstands and flips at 70 because he refused to accept that weakness was his destiny. Longevity is not a destination. It is a lifestyle of intention and curiosity. It is about squaring the curve, maintaining a high level of physical and mental function until the very end of your life, followed by a very short period of decline. If you are 30, start building your muscle pension now. If you are 60, realize that it is not too late to make a U-turn. Stop waiting for a magic supplement or a futuristic drug. The most powerful tool you have to change your future self is sitting right in front of you. It's your ability to get up, move often, push heavy things, and feed your body the nutrients it needs to stay strong. Take the longevity leap today. Your future self will thank you.